Mark Vianello, who started his career in teaching and administration back in 1992.
Well, if you live in Punta Gorda, you may have noticed your water coming out discolored today. Well, that's because of a water main break on Sunset Boulevard this morning. So crews were out on site repairing that leak. The city says the streets you see here on your screen were impacted. Now, if you don't live on any of these areas on this list, but did notice that discoloration, the city says go ahead, call that number on your screen. They will send someone to your street to flush out your area.
Well, if you love a good farmer's market, the Fort Myers River District has reopened today. This is the first time since Ian. The market is normally open year-round right under the Caloosahatchee Bridge at Centennial Park. You might have seen it before. It actually closed for rebuilding, and today, though, they held their grand reopening, and it's a special place because you can find local produce, but you can also find pastries and food and vendors when you go, and organizers say they are ready to serve you.
We are so excited the market is back. Everybody's missed the market, been waiting for the market, and I'm so grateful to Gina and her team to open it again today.
We're just excited to bring it back. It's the longest standing farmers market in Lee County, so it just feels right to be back open.
The market is open if you'd like to check it out every Thursday from 9 in the morning to 1. It looks so good, Nadine.
Oh, yeah, Shari. Also, there's a new exhibit in honor of Collier County turning 100 years old this year. It's opening in 1 week at the Marco Island Historical Museum. This exhibit highlights Tommy Barfield's role in creating Collier County. Barfield is known as the Queen of Marco Island for her integral work in creating the city there. You can actually learn more about her next week at the grand opening again of this exhibit that kicks off next Thursday at 4:30.
Well, still to come here on Fox 4 News at 5, the future for transgender children in Florida could soon change.
Yeah, so coming up, we have the latest on a bill that would ban gender dysphoria treatments across the state. Katie.
Partly cloudy skies, much hotter for tomorrow. Staying dry, but that won't be the case this weekend. We'll break down on what weather could impact your plans next.
Hot-button political issues are influencing which colleges high school students are choosing to go to. According to a recent survey by Art and Science Group, 25% of prospective college students say they will skip out on a school if it's in a state with policies they don't agree with. The findings were consistent regardless of political affiliation. Reproductive health laws were a top issue both political parties seem to be concerned with most.
In the wake of the Dobbs decision, right, some students are really looking at what is the lay of the land when it comes to reproductive rights in this other state or in my own state.
Besides abortion, racial equity, conservative LGBTQ+ laws, poor gun control, and a lack of mental health support were also cited as top reasons liberal students were skipping out on colleges in certain states, while conservatives say they were concerned with liberal LGBTQ policies and an eagerness to quash conservative voices. Researchers say that students shunning certain states over these issues may lead to more polarization in the future.
And I think this is going to add a dimension to some students' kitchen table conversations about where to go, where do I feel like I belong, what's affordable, and what's the political landscape there? What are my reproductive rights there?
Politics are also a key factor in dorm room decisions. According to a separate survey in 2022, nearly half of college students say they wouldn't share a room with someone who has different political views than them.
Libraries have become centers of controversy over the last few months, and while some municipalities and school districts believe that young people should not be viewing certain titles, Seattle Public Library believes that access to those books should be granted, and they're part of a growing movement to do just that. Libraries have always been places of access, whether that's access to books, Wi-Fi, or a quiet place to be. The Seattle Public Library, however, is expanding its access way past the glass panels of its downtown location.
We were founded in this country, not just as individual libraries, but as a national effort to make sure that we have an informed citizenry, and that is critical.
Head librarian Tom Fay says the Seattle Public Library is now offering free access to their collection of ebooks to young people across the nation in direct response to the increase of book bans nationwide. Anyone aged 13 to 26 living in the United States outside of Washington's King County can apply for a free library e-card to access Seattle's 215,000 unique titles and 700,000 ebooks for 1 year. Seattle was inspired by the Brooklyn Public Library, who last year began their Books Unbanned initiative, making them the first to offer their collection of online resources, ebooks, and audiobooks for free to young people nationwide. Faye tells me around 7,000 young people have taken advantage of the Brooklyn program, and a week after opening its access, 1,400 have taken advantage of Seattle's offerings.
When you think about the books that are banned, they range from the classics, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Hunger Games, to, yes, genderqueer. But at the end of the day, when you think about all of these, they're all opportunities for growth. Each one of those stories is actually speaking to someone.
Last year, an Oklahoma teacher was removed from the class, then resigned after sharing the QR code to Brooklyn's Books Unbanned to her class following new state restrictions around books. Faye says while they have not received any pushback from making access available nationally, the library is preparing for it.
We respect parents' rights to help make those decisions for their children. What you may not think appropriate for your child, I might. I don't want to take something away from you, and really what we want to make sure is no one's taking something else away from someone else in the community across the country.
He says he's been talking to other libraries across the country interested in providing similar access and hopes others who can continue to do the same.
So if we're not going to stand up for the First Amendment, then I don't know where we stand up as a profession.
Vanessa Pashanya, Scripps News, Seattle.
There are days that I blame the weather for me not working out, but today I could not because this morning was so cool and beautiful.
It was refreshing and gorgeous. A perfect morning for the start of the farmers market. During the commercial break, we were talking about how much we love farmers markets here on Fox 4 News at 5. Let's go ahead and bring in certified meteorologist Katie Wells. I was saying my favorite thing to get at a farmers market is the fresh lemonade. And boy, if there's anybody going to a farmers market this weekend, it's going to be hot. So a nice cold glass of lemonade.
Exactly,
Really
especially by tomorrow afternoon. Nadine will be about 5 degrees hotter. It's also going to be more humid starting tomorrow. So take advantage of the more tranquil conditions that we do have outside right now. And if you already think it's hot, then get ready. The heat will really be on as we head into tomorrow and as this area of high pressure starts to shift off toward our east. Now let's take a live look outside from the Bayfront in. Really beautiful conditions for those of you heading out right now for downtown Naples. High pressure in control, meaning we have a lot of dry air, not just at the surface, but upstairs as well. That's why we don't have anything in the way of cloud cover in Collier County or here in Lee County. Here we are now looking live, different perspective across the Caloosahatchee River from the Luminary Hotel. Downtown Fort Myers, we're sitting at 85 degrees. Dew point, that's crept up a couple of degrees, now in the lower 60s. That said, still feeling pretty nice. That humidity right now at 44%. Winds currently out of the west around 9 miles per hour. So on our muggy meter, remember last night we had dropped into the refreshing range, and that's where it stayed up until a couple of hours ago. So now we are in the comfy range, and it's going to be heading into the tolerable range by tomorrow afternoon as we start to see more of that humidity make a return. But for those of you making plans this evening, fantastic weather, sunny skies followed by clear skies, sunset right around 8:02 p.m. So we will stay dry and warm. Right around 10 o'clock, those temperatures starting to drop into the mid 70s. So your weather headlines for tomorrow: hotter and more humid. I know we have a lot of Cinco de Mayo celebrations going on, but just be sure to stay hydrated. And then looking ahead to the weekend, of course, we're all trying to make those weekend plans. As of right now, your Saturday, it's going to be dry at the coast. Best chance for a few showers and storms on your Saturday will be farther inland in the afternoon. They're going to be isolated though. And then for your Sunday, more of us, basically all of us here in Southwest Florida, will have that chance for developing scattered storms in the afternoon. So heads up there for your Sunday. But for tonight into tomorrow, tranquil conditions are expected. Tomorrow morning, we'll start off with a partly cloudy sky, and we'll continue with the partly cloudy conditions, mostly sunny to partly cloudy, staying very toasty throughout the afternoon into the evening. Could see a spotty sprinkle right here in inland Hendry County, but otherwise, conditions stay quiet for your Friday. As for Saturday, here we go, hour by hour. Quiet for the first half of Saturday. A little bit more cloud cover expected for the afternoon. And notice this, with that wind picking up out of the west on Saturday afternoon, the best chance for some of those scattered showers will be pushed farther inland. So your coast will continue to stay dry. Charlotte, Lee into coastal Collier County, dry conditions are expected for your Saturday afternoon and evening. But as we look ahead to your Sunday, that's when those rain chances will be stepping up into the scattered range, and it does look like those scattered showers and storms will continue into the start of next week. Before tonight, mostly clear. We're dropping into the mid 60s. Still feeling pretty nice for tomorrow morning, up to 93 degrees tomorrow afternoon. So certainly a change up there with that southwesterly wind starting to pick up, increasing that humidity. And over the weekend, again, Sunday looking like the stormier of the 2 weekend days.
White House leaders are out with a new plan to make sure artificial intelligence is improving lives without putting people's rights and safety at risk.
Well, when you think about what is so different about AI versus other technologies, part of it really is the scale of it. You can make one algorithmic decision that can have effects on millions of people's lives. And so that means there's less of an opportunity to course correct in the moment.
Vice President Kamala Harris met today with the heads of Google, Microsoft, and other companies who are working on AI to talk about this and how they can work together with the government. The Biden administration plans to invest $140 million to establish 7 new AI research institutes. Top AI developers will also be participating in a public evaluation of their systems in August at a hacker convention.
Regulation and standards both have a role to play. Regulation is oftentimes used when there is a very well-defined pain point and you need guardrails to deal with the potential harms. Safeguards, on the other hand, are for establishing best practices, for creating community of standards, and can really operate well in ambiguity.
The White House Office of Management and Budget is expected to issue guidance in the next few months on how federal agencies can use AI tools. The Federal Aviation Administration is looking to fill the shortage of air traffic controllers. The FAA's application window opens Friday and stays open through May 8th. Without enough air traffic controllers, airlines could be looking at major scheduling cuts for the busy summer travel season. If you're interested in applying for an air traffic controller job, you can visit FAA.gov. Fluoride has caused a lot of debate over the years. Dentists say it's needed for oral health, but public health advocates argue the levels in drinking water are too high. What new research shows about how it impacts brain IQ.
Well, a lot happening in Tallahassee for the last week of legislative session, including new start times for middle and high school students and year-round schools for some districts.
And those are just some of the changes Florida lawmakers are considering. We've got the latest on how major education bills in Tallahassee could impact schools right here in our area next. Katie?
It'll be a tranquil start again at the bus stop at the afternoon. More hot and more humid. We'll be diving deeper into what to expect over the weekend next.
Well, months after Hurricane Ian and thousands of homeowners across Southwest Florida are still dealing with this. Tarps on their roofs while companies are starting to worry as so many continue to get their roofs replaced.
Live from Southwest Florida, this is Fox 4 News at 5.
Yeah, and nearly 8 months after Hurricane Ian, so many people still have those blue tarps on their roofs as now rainy season and hurricane season are fast approaching, Shari.
Yeah, I was flying back last week and just flying over and you can literally see them sprinkled throughout our area. It hurts your heart, and we know many of you worry about the state of your roof as we see more rain in the coming months. So that is why Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley spoke to a local roofing company today to get some answers for you. Andrew?
Yeah, roofing repairs for thousands of Southwest Florida residents mean battling insurance companies and supply delays. And that continues over the last few weeks with thunderstorms beginning to return. Now rain leaking into residents' roofs and winds blowing those tarps around. And with rainy season in Florida typically starting around May 15th, Jason Polly, the president of Roof Easy in Cape Coral, believes that we're about to be flooded with calls for roof repairs. Now, Polly says that before Ian, his company was doing about 10 roof repairs every week. That number is now close to 30 per week, and that's before the rainy season. With so many people already need roof repairs, he's worried because the rain will likely mean more people might not know that their roof is compromised and also needing help.
Preemptively, I recommend everybody get a qualified roofer out to inspect their roof. If you have the means to get a repair done, get your repairs done. If you're dealing with insurance or you're with a lawyer, public adjuster, get your repairs done, get your invoices over to the public adjuster, your lawyer, whoever, just to show that, hey, I'm trying to get my roof covered before rainy season, hurricane season gets here.
And if you do have that blue tarp on your roof, well, many of you might not know, those are only rated to last about 3 to 8 weeks, while other methods called ceramic underlay, which is a tarp paper, that can last 4 to 8 months. But we're coming close to that lifespan ending as well. Now, the best thing, again, is to continue to get that roof looked at and ready to go ahead of rainy season. In studio, meteorologist Andrew Shipley, Fox 4.
Andrew, thank you so much. I'm going to take you to Tallahassee now, where decisions there could impact the time your student goes to school, and we could see year-round classes. That is because today the Florida Senate gave a nearly unanimous approval to both of those major moves. And this evening, our Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders shows you just how this would work.
Future school years could look a lot different for some in the Sunshine State.
39 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
Show the bill passes.
Senators giving final approval to a bill that will study year-round schooling to see if Florida should make a change. The bill greenlights a pilot program starting in the 2024-25 school year, requiring at least one elementary per district to try year-round schooling out.
Congrats, by the way. I think your bill just went through. 39-0. That's got to feel good.
Oh, mine?
Yeah. Senator Linda Stewart spoke with us as her bill passed off the floor, saying it won't add more days to the 180-day year, just spreads them out in a way that could help student retention.
Keeping the kids engaged and keeping them learning throughout the whole summer so we don't have the end of the year become the beginning of the next year.
Lawmakers also approved a bill making sure students don't have to get up super early for class. The bill, approved with broad support,
38 yeas, 2 nays, Mr. President.
Show the bill passes.
Requires that by July 1st, 2026, all public and charter middle school classes can't start earlier than 8 a.m. High schools, no earlier than 8:30 a.m.
What we're doing now is not what's best for our kids, for the adolescents especially.
Senator Danny Burgess is shepherding the bill. He says science supports making the change, though critics worry about the increased burden to staff and potentially substantial new costs to districts. The senator addressed that, noting the bill requires districts report potential issues in the transition time.
We have 3 years, and in those 3 years, we're going to do our due diligence. We're not going to set anybody up for failure.
Speaking of failure, it'll now be up to the governor to determine the fate of these bills and the future of Florida schools. At the Capitol, I'm Forrest Saunders, Fox 4.
Force tells us if these bills do get the governor's signature, their provisions to start will actually happen on July 1st of this year.
Also today, Florida is set to ban gender dysphoria treatments for kids who identify as transgender. After a final vote in the House this morning, a bill making it officially law is now headed to the governor's desk. Now, in these last few weeks, the chambers were at odds with just how far this policy should go. But with the session ending in less than 24 hours, a last-minute compromise saved the ban. Now, if signed, it will be a felony to prescribe gender dysphoria treatments to new underage patients in Florida. Lawmakers were fiercely divided on this issue.
No one deserves to have essential medical care taken away from them.
This is a mental condition. It's not a physical condition.
So the bill conflicts with at least 30 different medical organizations that have offered supportive statements on gender-affirming care, as you see here. Many consider it beneficial and say it rarely includes surgery, but the governor's signature is likely going to be the next step here. His name would also make the bill's provisions effective immediately. Michelle?
The coronation of King Charles is just days away, and the event will be full of the pageantry England is famous for. But as James Packard reports, those ceremonial traditions underscore the modern challenges Charles faces as support for the monarchy wanes.
As the King's Guard marches, royal fans are already camped along the main road to Buckingham Palace to witness the first coronation in 70 years.
So to be here at the front to see history happening in front of our eyes, it's amazing. And we're very passionate. Royalists will love the royal family, and it means a great deal to us as a group to be here.
Hundreds of thousands of people from the UK and around the world are expected to come to London for Saturday's coronation of King Charles. Visitors are swarming London's gift shops looking for souvenirs to commemorate the event.
You know, I had to get one of these booklets because I don't think this is ever going to happen again in my lifetime, so it's fun being part of the history.
Organizers say the coronation will be an economic boost to the country, but it comes as Britain deals with double-digit inflation, and taxpayers are funding the pageantry. Some reports estimate the cost could top $125 million.
Is it fair that there is so much attention and resource being put into a massive coronation celebration when people are in record numbers having to rely upon food banks, are facing poverty on an unbelievable scale?
Charles has said he plans to slim down the monarchy, and the coronation reflects that. The ceremony will be shorter, there will be fewer guests in the audience, and the procession after the ceremony will be shorter than Queen Elizabeth's coronation. For the first time, Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, Muslim, and Jewish religious leaders will have a role in the coronation. But some in Britain's increasingly diverse society question whether a 74-year-old white man truly represents them.
If that isn't the biggest celebration of white supremacy, then I can't think what is, especially when you think about the links, the pageantry, the jewels, and all this stuff, right?
King Charles also faces a generation gap in support for the monarchy. A recent YouGov BBC poll found just 32% of 18 to 24-year-olds believe the monarchy should continue, compared to 78% of people over 65. The royals are hoping Prince William can help change that. James Packard, Scripps News, Washington.
All right, James, thank you for that report. Well, you're going to face some challenges if you're looking to buy a home this spring. A new report out today from Realtor.com shows fewer people are looking to sell their homes right now. The number of newly listed homes fell more than 21% in April compared to last year. With homes that are on the market, prices are up slightly, 2.5% in April. But price growth has been on the decline for 10 months in a row. Meanwhile, home equity is trending down, according to a report from Adam. 47% of mortgaged residential properties in the U.S. were considered equity rich in the first quarter of the year. That means the combined estimated amount of loan balances was no more than 50% of the home's estimated market value. That's down from 48% in the fourth quarter of 2022.
When putting a down payment on a home, 20% down is the widely accepted standard. But experts say it's not a do or die number, especially in today's market. According to the National Association of Realtors, 61% of home buyers used money from savings for their down payment on a home in 2022. The median down payment just 13% last year. Daryl Fairweather of Redfin says some sellers prefer all cash offers or larger down payments. But with home sales on the decline, she says sellers can't be picky.
There really isn't a lot of evidence to suggest that people who are putting not much money down, are putting less than 20% down, are less likely to close. People who are putting not much money down are typically as likely to close as somebody who's putting 20% down.
She says buyers are facing much higher interest rates, but less competition. So if a 10% down payment is what you can afford, don't count yourself out.
I don't think sellers should really care too much about the financing as long as they feel confident that the borrower is motivated to close on the deal and they've done their work to make sure that they can afford to.
Of course, a larger down payment means smaller monthly payments, and you'll get more money back if you decide to sell. Whatever home you fall in love with, make sure you have enough money down for an affordable monthly payment and you don't waste your money.
An irregular heartbeat can put people at a higher risk for serious heart conditions. We're looking into a new experimental treatment that's showing promise. Millions of people nationwide are dealing with medical debt. You may turn to medical credit cards or other loans to help with medical bills. A new report from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is warning about the impact this is having. It estimates Americans collectively paid $1 billion in deferred interest on medical credit cards and other medical financing from 2018 to 2020. Medical credit cards that are often marketed as at doctors' offices typically have a promotional period where you pay no interest, but then later you can face interest rates as high as 27%. 4 distinct symptoms are being linked to colorectal cancer. New research shows younger people diagnosed with the disease are more likely to experience abdominal pain, rectal bleeding, diarrhea, and iron deficiency. The research included more than 5,000 people with early onset colorectal cancer. Nearly half had at least one symptom 3 months before diagnosis. The risk increased as additional symptoms popped up. People living with irregular heartbeats may have a new option for treatment. Doctors at Washington University in St. Louis have been experimenting with radiation treatment for people with irregular heartbeats.
Ventricular tachycardia is a life-threatening fast heart rhythm, and it's the most common cause of sudden cardiac arrest.
Early findings show the little bit of radiation exposed to the heart cells helps it control heartbeats like younger and healthier cells do.
We have patients where that vest of electrodes that I was talking to you about before, the non-invasive mapping system. And so in just 1 or 2 beats, we can map the electrical part of the heart, and we can see where is the start of that arrhythmia.
This new experimental treatment isn't without risk. Generally, doctors avoid radiating the heart because it could cause more damage, but quick exposure shows promising preliminary results.
It may actually rejuvenate sick tissue, and that's pretty exciting. It can be thought of as, turning back the clock to take a diseased tissue and perk it up and make it function more like normal.
The team of doctors at Washington University have only gotten permission to treat about 80 patients this way, but they are recruiting for a clinical study they hope will give them valuable data that could lead to FDA approval.
Getting ready for a big trip takes a lot of planning.
T-minus 9 minutes and counting.
Getting ready for a big trip to Mars takes a little bit more time than that.
As we get further, we're going to have less help from Earth, and that's especially going to be true when we go on a Mars mission.
Meet Dr. Grace Douglas. She's the principal investigator for a NASA project called Crew Health and Performance Exploration Analog. As NASA scientists get closer to stepping foot on Mars, they need to know if humans can handle it. That's where this project comes in. 4 people will spend 378 days in a Mars-like environment, getting a real look at how that would be.
We want to make sure that the resources we put in, so we have limited food supplies, we have limits on water, we have limits on just cleaning and hygiene items. We want to make sure that we are supporting them at the level of cognitive and physical performance that is necessary for a successful human mission.
The red planet is roughly 160 million miles from Earth, so food, supplies, and communication will be a challenge. There can be a delay of up to 22 minutes just to get a written message across. Still, those in the experiment will have most of their moves tracked. Data on how much they're eating and how they're using resources will then be sent to engineers so they can craft the perfect vehicle to house people on Mars.
As humans, we are explorers, so it's really exciting to think what's next and what's out there and what can we do, what can we achieve.
So when will this all happen? This project kicks off this summer. However, the Mars mission is set for the 2030s, giving them time to figure out the unique challenges living on Mars presents.
Well, speaking of some challenges, some Florida teachers say they are leaving their jobs because they just don't feel safe.
So coming up on Fox 4 News at 6, why they say newly passed anti-trans laws are to blame. Katie.
High pressure and control means tranquil conditions for those of you heading out. Dry for now. That won't be the case over the weekend. We're updating the timeline for when wet weather could dampen your plans next.
One thing I love about Fox 4 Morning News is they call Thursdays Baby Friday.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so
we usually
congratulations
say
to you.
It's also Friday Eve.
Yes, we like that too.
And we've been counting down. We actually accidentally said it was Friday earlier today. I don't know about you, but we're ready for the weekend. Let's go right out to certified meteorologist Katie Walls, who has our weekend forecast. And Katie, like clockwork, man, we're going to have some rain again, possibly.
That's right. Those rain chances going back up for your weekend. It's not going to be a washout, but there will be times that rain could get in the way. Meanwhile, here at the Fox 4 Weather Center, we received some new data in this morning from the USGS Drought Monitor, and I have some good news for you, seeing those improvements. First, though, a live look outside at what has been a very quiet and tranquil day. So here across Southwest Florida, this is a live look from the Bayfront Inn in downtown Naples. Crisp blue skies, all thanks to that drier air in place. So high pressure's here. Obviously, no chance for rainfall today, but again, that's going to be changing over the weekend. Now, I want to look back in time at our drought concerns because, as you know, we are still in dry season. It's hard to believe. March 30th, about 1 month ago, this is what we were up against: severe to extreme drought conditions. Now we put that time lapse into effect, and about 2 weeks ago, we started to see improvements. No more red, just that severe drought. And then, based upon the latest data, all because of rainfall this past weekend, this is factoring in that heavy rain we saw Saturday night and Sunday morning with that line of storms. You're seeing now moderate drought for most of Collier County into western Hendry, Lee, southern Charlotte. Still some spots up toward DeSoto and Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, where we still have severe drought, but definitely starting to see the right transition as we start to basically see the drought conditions improve just a touch, even by one category. That's a big improvement. We are still in deficit, though. Let's keep that in mind. Fort Myers, we're still down by around 3.5 inches going back to January 1st. Naples, we're down by nearly 6 inches. And in Punta Gorda, we're down by 2¼ inches. So we could definitely use some rainfall. But again, as we always talk about, so many of us still have a lot of repairs that we need to do. So here's what you need to know. Sunday, heading into next week, that's when we'll kick into more of a consistent afternoon scattered stormy pattern. And that's going to be the case across most of Southwest Florida. Saturday's rain probabilities will primarily just be focused in our interior communities. But if you are heading out this evening, wet weather is definitely not a factor of mine. Here we are looking live again, just those high thin cirrus clouds. Temperatures still warm. We're at 85 degrees dew point. The measure of moisture in the air sitting in the lower 60s. So as we take a look at that hour by hour forecast overnight tonight, mostly clear skies are expected. And your Friday, Cinco de Mayo, a lot of celebrations going on. Dry conditions, but it's going to be more humid. And it will certainly be hotter as well. Here's why. We'll start to see those winds shift. Instead of coming out of the north, they'll be coming out of the south and west, pumping up the heat and pumping up the humidity. So certainly pay attention to that for the afternoon and evening. But any outdoor plans that you might have will shape up beautifully. And then looking ahead to the weekend, the best chance for those storms will be inland on Saturday. Tonight, mostly clear, will drop down to 66. Into the lower 90s we go for tomorrow afternoon, several degrees hotter compared to today. And then notice on Sunday, that's that better chance for all of us here in Southwest Florida to see those developing afternoon storms.
We know where these come from, the store, and before that, the farm. But not all farms are in the country. We found one right inside of Jackson, Mississippi, city limits.
It wasn't a plan. I planned to be an investment banker. I planned to open a bank. I didn't plan to be a farmer.
Her uniform, a pink shirt with a matching cowboy hat and pearls on her wrist. Dr. Cindy Ayers Elliott, CEO of Footprint Farms, had a successful career as an investment banker in New York. She was a worldwide jet setter who helped to write farm policies and issue million-dollar bonds. Then she started to question her purpose in life.
How many diamonds do you really want? You know, pearls I keep, but everything else I can let go. But how many of these things really is worth life? What does it really do?
The questions went deep.
So I think as our mindset change, our eyes open to see why we're here and what missions we have to do while we're on this earth, it changes everything.
Her new mission? Educating anyone willing to listen. You too can be a farmer. But Dr. Ayers Elliott says it can be tough for some people wanting to get their hands dirty.
Right now, air property is one of the biggest hurdles for black farmers.
For many American farmers, land is passed down from generation to generation, but for many black families in agriculture, that can be complicated. Sometimes too many owners make decision-making difficult, or there's no clear will or trust to say how the property will be used or distributed. Elliott says this adds to the lack of farmers that look like her.
Black farmers in America is an endangered species. Now it's less than 50,000 of us throughout America.
According to the National Black Farmers Association, after slavery, black farms did quite well. The association says at that time, black farmers owned over 16 million acres. Today, it's less than 5 million. The number of farmers has dwindled too. At one point, the association says 925,000 tilled the land. Now, it's less than 36,000. That means only 1 in every 100 farmers is black. Ayers Elliott's 68-acre Footprint Farms is nestled in a rural part of South Jackson, Mississippi. Her reason for making the career change has a lot to do with the impact she wanted to make back home. South Jackson has been called a food desert, a place where healthy options are hard to find within a certain mile distance. Ayers Elliott says her Footprint Farms has helped ease that need by supplying fresh produce and even opening a restaurant in a nearby mall in South Jackson.
Mississippi has #1 in everything that's bad: hypertension, high blood pressure, obesity. Everything that we shouldn't have, we have. But what we don't have is access to help change that or to make a difference. And right here is Footprint Farms. This is the whole mission. The whole mission is to bring access so people can come and enjoy and eat healthy.
She took time to talk to us about land use and how the USDA can provide guidance on what's best to grow on your land.
I'm going to bring in the great minds. I'm going to bring in the community. I'm going to bring in the knowledge that you never thought was there, because it's not always in a book. It's not always with a PhD behind your name. It's real life and people that truly make a difference.
Dr. Ayers Elliott says she has no plans to go back to investment banking. Footprint Farms is now home.
I really thought that was living. I really enjoyed that time. I would not change it, but I wouldn't go back to it. Because now what I'm doing is not only fulfillful, you can see it right then and there.
Tammy Eswick, Scripps News, Jackson, Mississippi.
All right, Tammy, thank you for that report. Well, that's going to do it for us today. I'm Michelle London. Fox 4 News at 6 is next.
A Lee County corrections deputy arrested and charged for leaking confidential information to street racing groups.
So when you leak that out, people get to see what we're doing.
Tonight, the information that got out and were operations jeopardized.
And a new Collier County superintendent means a new list of goals for students.
Really kind of we're starting from scratch.
Fox 4 investigates one-on-one with the new leader, asking which changes are ahead for students and staff. And as Hurricane Preparedness Week continues, what to do about all of those damaged roofs here in Southwest Florida.
With rainy season quickly approaching, a roofing expert shows us what to do to shore up your homes.
Live from Southwest Florida, this is Fox 4 News at 6.
Well, a simple Snapchat post lands a corrections deputy into serious trouble after the sheriff says he leaked confidential information with illegal street racing groups. Thanks for joining us for Fox 4 News at 6. I'm Nadine Yanis.
I'm Chris Earle, and that 18-year-old corrections deputy arrested for posting that sensitive information on Snapchats.
Yeah, Sheriff Carmine Marcino says that corrections deputy wanted to warn those street racing groups, which the sheriff's office has been trying to crack down on after a shooting back in March.
That information that was leaked out did affect other people because that intel, is confidential.
So they say this man did it. 18-year-old Gure Usin, Sheriff Carmine Marcino saying the photos posted contained what could involve suspects, criminal informants, and people also working undercover.
Fox 4's Caitlin Knapp live in studio now to explain how the sheriff's office said Usin did it.
Well, all it really took was a computer and a phone. Sheriff Carmine Marcino says Usin took 4 photos on the information on a computer at their core facility. Then he posted it on Snapchat. The information is only in a portal for certified employees. They could access it, and Usin included in that. And it's access. I asked the sheriff if he's reevaluating because of this particular incident.
Snapchat is how an internal investigation started at the Lee County Sheriff's Office. 4 photos leaking confidential information about street racing investigations.
Detectives quickly found information on a photo was an exact match to one of our programs that stores law enforcement sensitive information.
That information allegedly leaked by Lee County Corrections Officer Gure Usin, an 18-year-old only on the job for 9 months. Sheriff Carmine Marcino says using a date and time, they tracked down the picture to a sheriff's office computer.
Former Deputy Usin intentionally gave this information out to warn these groups and obstruct our investigations.
And in this investigation, Sheriff Marcino says they identified Usin through surveillance video and logins, leaking information on Snapchat that law enforcement doesn't want out there, informants, suspects, the progress of an investigation.
The people that are involved in the investigation now get intelligence that they're not supposed to see, and that hurts our investigation.
About 1,100 certified employees with the Lee County Sheriff's Office can access this level of information. I asked the sheriff if this incident has them rethinking stricter access.
Of course, we always think about access and limiting access and who has access.
Access Usin no longer has. Deputies arrested him at his Collier County home Wednesday, charging him with disclosing confidential criminal justice information.
Unfortunately, there are relationships that we can't control outside of work.
The now fired Usin is still in a Collier County jail tonight, and this is the second recent case of Lee County corrections officers getting fired. Back in February, 2 were accused of throwing hot water on inmates at a Lee County jail, and both of them were also fired. Reporting live in studio, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.
All right, Caitlin, thank you. Also, take a look at this video taken by Fox 4 cameras today, showing the moment a man was arrested just outside Hodges University in Fort Myers. Witnesses on scene tell us the man was actually trying to drive away from police and took a fast turn, hitting a pole. They say the suspect then got out of the car and started running. However, our cameras show he was ultimately caught, as you see here, and taken into custody. Fox 4 waiting on any official report from deputies regarding this incident.
New tonight, jury selection is set to start Monday in the case of the man accused of killing a babysitter and the 11-year-old girl she was caring for back in 1990. Joseph Zeiler is accused in the deaths of 11-year-old Robin Cornell and Lisa Story in Cape Coral. He's facing the death penalty if convicted, at least a possibility of it. Recently, Zeiler's legal team entered multiple motions to deny evidence from getting shown in court. Those motions specifically asked the court to not allow DNA results, as Zeiler's legal team claims that police may have mishandled the evidence. evidence.
Well, Fort Myers police have arrested a 22-year-old who detectives say was sending inappropriate pictures of children to others on social media. Officers arresting Anthony Angelo and charging him with 10 counts of possession and 2 counts of transmission of child pornography. Fort Myers police says there was actually a tip from the National Center and Missing Exploited Children that told investigators about this last summer. Detectives eventually finding the evidence that Angelo sent inappropriate images and videos on the app Kick.
Deputies in DeSoto County say that they arrested a man who attacked someone, then got away in a scooter and rode through downtown Arcadia. Deputies say Ryan Pope is facing numerous charges, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Investigators say Pope attacked someone at a home during a domestic dispute. When deputies arrived on scene, witnesses told them Pope took off on a scooter. Investigators then chased Pope until he crashed the scooter in downtown Arcadia, and then they arrested him.
Well, it is a slow and steady progress, but it is getting done as those emergency sand dunes are being put into place in Collier County. Fox 4 cameras were there to see the berms on the move today, and these berms serve a purpose. FEMA guidelines say that they must be in place before hurricane season comes because they do help limit damage from storm surge and flooding. Well, people who spoke with Fox 4 today say it's not the most aesthetically pleasing thing right now, but the sand piles and the excavation equipment being used really are vital to making sure that we can still use our beaches.
I'd like to see it when it's done, then but even if it is an eyesore, I suppose if it ultimately is better for the environment and for the beach, then maybe it's worth it.
And here's a fun fact about these berms. The sand has to come from somewhere, and that sand mine is in Immokalee and Moorhaven. Collier County says that about 400,000 tons of sands will likely be used to finish this project. And you're going to want to stick around for us tonight for Fox 4 News at 10. We're actually speaking with wildlife experts weighing in on how all of this new sand is impacting sea turtle nesting season here in Southwest Florida, both helping and hurting the sea turtles trying to nest. Fox 4's Colton Chavez working on that story as we speak, and we will see you and him tonight at 10.
Now shifting to the classrooms and how to operate them in Collier County.
Yeah, so tonight, those students, teachers, and staff in Collier County, they have a new leader with new plans for the district, but a familiar face. This after a marathon meeting last night, taking more than 5 hours with more than 100 people publicly speaking. The school board voted 3-2 to appoint interim superintendent Dr. Leslie Riccadelli to a permanent role as superintendent.
And tonight, she talks with Fox 4's Ryan Kruger about her vision for the district in this new permanent role. Ryan.
Yeah, Chris, one of the first items on the agenda for this new permanent superintendent and the school board is a new strategic plan. The school board, which is openly conservative, has made it clear they want changes to education in Collier County.
Lots of appreciation. Dr. Leslie Riccadelli is feeling that appreciation and gratitude on her first day of work after the Collier County School Board chose her as the new permanent superintendent.
I've been here for 23 years, and I've been at many schools and at many, in different roles even. So you start to get to know parents and you get to know family members.
Riccadelli was born and raised in Collier County. She spent much of her career working with students with special needs before serving as deputy superintendent and interim superintendent since last December.
We're now getting ready to begin writing a new strategic plan. So those things don't usually happen like that, but we'll write the new strategic plan off of the new vision and mission and the priorities. And so really kind of we're starting from scratch.
This school year saw major changes to education in the Sunshine State. A swath of new laws that ban certain history lessons, limit classroom discussions on LGBTQ issues, and even remove some books from school libraries. And in November, a conservative majority was elected to the Collier County School Board.
How have you been able to navigate with that?
I have a great relationship with them. I don't. Listen, I'm an educator. I'm not a politician. I don't engage in the negativity.
And speaking of the school board will discuss the actual contract terms and an official start date during their next meeting, which is going to be next week on May 9th. Ryan Kruger, Fox 4 Investigates.
Thank you, Ryan. Hurricane Preparedness Week is this week, and we're focusing on a problem many of you are still battling through.
You see all of those blue tarps. We're talking about damaged roofs still sitting without repairs after Ian. So coming up, we're telling you what you can do now to make sure that your home isn't left even more damaged this hurricane season.
I don't really feel like I have a choice but to leave if I need to be safe.
And some teachers in Florida say they feel like they have to leave their jobs because they say they don't feel safe. They point to newly passed anti-trans laws as the reason. We'll hear their perspective from one of those teachers after the break.
And our radar here across Southwest Florida, nice and quiet, but we're actually keeping an eye on a fire there in Big Cypress National Preserve. We'll take a closer look at where that smoke is headed. Plus, we'll have your weekend weather next.
Well, new laws passed in Tallahassee on the second to last day of the legislative session have some Florida teachers concerned. One of those new laws passed today restricts the expression of gender identity and sexual orientation in the classrooms. And for teachers who identify as gay, bi, or transgender, this is a worry. Some even contemplating whether it's safer to just move out of Florida altogether. Joel Lopez with our Scripps station, WPTV in West Palm Beach, spoke with two of those teachers concerned tonight.
Two teachers who are trans that I spoke with say with the passage and expansion of this bill, they're ready to move out. Meet Micah DeCianti.
And what are your pronouns?
He, him.
Okay. Has it always been he, him?
No.
He says he's been an educator for 24 years, 14 of which have been in Palm Beach County. In the last year, he's transitioned to male.
Do you feel like students are supportive of who you are?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a non-issue. We all respect each other.
But he says this is his final year teaching in Florida.
I don't really feel like I have a choice but to leave if I need to be safe.
He says the new bills are threatening his identity and accepted a new job teaching out of state.
Most of my students are freshmen, but I do have a group of students who are juniors, and they said, well, who are we going to come talk to for advice next year? My freshmen have asked me, are you going to come to our graduation? They're upset.
The bill would prevent staff and students from having to refer to people by their preferred pronouns.
You see society coming at our children in a culture war that has an agenda.
And bans teaching gender identity and sexual orientation from kindergarten through 8th grade. Democratic lawmakers called the bill bigoted. Republican backers, however, consider the policy protection of children.
We need to make sure what's being taught in our classrooms are things that need to be taught in our classrooms, like math, like reading.
I'm trans, I'm out, like my students know what's going to happen to me.
Fowler says Florida is home, and after 8 years teaching, plans to move to Boston at the end of the school year.
I'm at a school that's very supportive of me, and I want to stay, but the situation has kind of got to a point where if I don't, I wonder what would happen if I stayed. What would happen to my safety if I stayed?
Governor DeSantis is expected to sign the bill, which would likely go into effect July 1st.
Joel Lopez with that story. Fox 4 also getting a chance to meet the new town manager at Fort Myers Beach, learning about how his last job and the experience there will help the beach rebuild. The town council appointed Andrew Hyatt last month. He officially started his new role on Monday. Hyatt comes in with extensive history throughout the state, as well as working after a major tragedy. His last role was in Surfside, overseeing the recovery there of the Champlain Towers collapse in 2021. So Fox 4 asked him how that experience will help with the recovery here at Fort Myers Beach.
You don't really prepare for building collapses, so you kind of have to react. But all the training that we do for hurricanes and the stuff we do with the National Incident Management System, it helps us prepare for the strategies that go into that. And so being able to react is key, because obviously you sit and wait for a hurricane to come and then you react.
Hyatt also notes the town has welcomed him very well. He says it's setting him up for success ahead of this massive undertaking. Hyatt does come in with a 2-year contract with the option to extend after those 2 years.
Well, it is a beautiful Thursday. It makes me even more excited for the weekend. Really nice outside today, Chris.
Yeah, the complaint box that's over by the weather department is empty today, from what I understand, which is good. So none of us are whining about it. It's been perfect since the start. As we bring in Fox 4 certified meteorologist Katie Walls.
And Katie, we've been talking about how viewers have mentioned, gosh, it's been so beautiful during the week. And then the weekend, we get rain again. And you said it is a pattern here. I mean, there's some science behind it.
Every 4 to 7 days, we see a cold front this time of year. And that's exactly what we're up against as we head toward the weekend again. So a bit more action expected, especially on Sunday. Of course, we'll talk more about your hour-by-hour weekend weather. But first, I want to start with a live look at radar. Of course, radar right now nice and quiet. And here we are looking live from the Bayfront Inn, looking inland. High pressure is in control, and that means really nothing, even in the way of cloud cover outside. But one thing our radar is picking up, interestingly enough, look down here. That is a fire over Big Cypress National Preserve. And as we zoom in, we can actually see where that surface smoke is headed. So if you are driving, say, along 41, maybe taking the scenic route through that beautiful area over to Miami-Dade, or even off of I-75 crossing over Alligator Alley, you might see some smoke. That's from a 150-acre burn right now that we are monitoring closely here at Fox 4. But as of right now, it is in the preserve. So that's what you might be seeing if you are traveling that direction. As for our drought index, this was updated this morning by the USGS Drought Monitor. We have seen improvement. Good news. This time last week, we still had that red across all of Southwest Florida. Well, now, notice this. Simply abnormally dry for Clewiston and Moorhaven. We're seeing some big improvements here. This is the first time we've seen yellow in months. And we have the peach color right here from Marco Island to Naples, Fort Myers, stretching even up to Highlands. Moderate drought instead of severe drought. Now, we do still have some severe drought concerns through DeSoto, northern Charlotte County into Sarasota counties. So those spots especially still need some rainfall. As for Punta Gorda, we are in deficit by around 2¼ inches. Naples, we're down by nearly 6 inches in the rain gauge. And in Fort Myers, going back to January 1st, we still need about 3½ inches of rain to fully catch up. So when will we see our next chance for rain? Tomorrow, it's going to be hot and dry. Best chance for a few showers on Saturday will be inland, pretty isolated. Then starting Sunday, Monday into Tuesday, you want to make sure you have that rain gear handy each and every afternoon, as those rain chances will be going up. We'll be kicking into more of an active weather pattern. But for those of you heading out this evening, looking quite nice indeed. Just those high clouds out there. We're at 83 degrees. Dew point still pretty comfy right now, sitting at 60. So on our muggy meter, as we look at that, not quite in the refreshing range where we were yesterday behind that cold front, but we are still relatively comfortable for those of you heading out. By tomorrow, we're going to head into the tolerable range as that humidity starts to increase. So planning out your evening, temperatures gradually dropping into the mid 70s. Mostly clear skies will prevail overnight tonight. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, and again, it's going to be more humid. It's going to be hotter. The reason being, winds will become southwesterly in the afternoon, pumping up that heat and humidity. So do keep that in mind for any outdoor plans you might have. That said, radar stays dry. So tonight, mostly clear. Will drop down into the low and mid 60s across southwest Florida. Afternoon highs tomorrow. Here we go. The heat is on. Low 90s are forecast with that wind becoming southwesterly. And then over the weekend, few inland afternoon storms expected Saturday, with a better chance for afternoon scattered storms starting Sunday into really most of next week.
Well, this next story is absolutely real, despite what we're about to say here. Volusia County officials are now consider adding a new law that would govern, quote, stupid drivers. So the proposal is based off an Arizona law, fining drivers when they get into an accident, causing any municipality to pay damages. In Florida, the proposal would fine drivers up to $500 if they ignore flood signs, barricades, or get stuck somewhere. State law currently limits what local government can do to rescue people. But a Volusia councilman says this, quote, stupid driver law would mainly be used during states of emergencies, and that's usually when we see these folks come out.
2018 Democratic nominee for governor Andrew Gillum has been found not guilty of lying to the FBI. Prosecutors had accused Gillum of funneling thousands of dollars of his own campaign money into a personal account. But this, though, will not be the end of his charges, as prosecutors say they do plan to retry Gillum on similar charges. The former Tallahassee mayor lost by fewer than 34,000 votes against Ron DeSantis in the race for governor in 2018.
Well, we're still not in the rainy season quite yet, or hurricane season, but boy, is time running out, Chris.
And we can still see tarps all over after Hurricane Ian. We'll look at how to protect your property best as we approach the summer, as we're all waiting for storm season.
Yeah, plus one of Southwest Florida's more soothing views is back on Fort Myers Beach. We will take you there.
Blue tarps normally last around 3 to 8 weeks.
But nearly 8 months after Ian, so many across Southwest Florida are still living with tarps on their roofs. Tonight, during Hurricane Preparedness Week, a roofing expert defines the insurance battle that still lies ahead.
And Lee County schools want more than $1 million for turf and other facility replacements. Still ahead, the budget the school board leaders have to review to update those athletic fields.
Live from Southwest Florida, this is Fox 4 News at 6.
And getting truly ready for rainy season, for hurricane season. So many roofs still damaged after Ian hit last September. Thanks for keeping it here with Fox 4 News at 6. I'm Chris Earl.
And I'm Nadine Yanis. If you are even in the sky for a little bit, you will see a lot of blue covering thousands of homes all across Southwest Florida.
And between the supply chain issues, not enough roofers, also people still waiting on their insurance claims, so many places still needing repair.
So Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley is now here during Hurricane Preparedness Week on how you can get ready for hurricane season with those tarps still hanging on your home, Andrew.
Yeah, we all know when it comes to your roof, many of you are still battling your insurance companies, even supply delays. And with rainy season normally starting around May 15th, I spoke to a local roofing company who tells me what you need to know in order to protect your home.
We hope that there are no leaks, but with all these blue tarps, there's going to be leaks.
Across our area, blue tarps months after Hurricane Ian. And as rainy season approaches, you might wonder just how those coverings are holding up.
Blue tarps normally last around 3 to 8 weeks.
Jason Polly owns a local company, Roof Easy. He says they offer a tarp paper, a method lasting about 4 to 8 months. But a common challenge for so many, regardless of how you're protecting your roof, insurance.
It's every day. Every day we're having to battle insurance. Every day we're having to comfort homeowners. Hey, we'll get to you as soon as your insurance pays out.
Another challenge, supplies. Polly says a tile roof could see a backlog of 26 to 42 weeks. And no matter what the delay, the concern here is what could happen next, as we could see even more rain in the coming weeks.
Additional damage, drywall, insulation, mold remediation. There's all sorts of things that come with interior leaking.
So what do you do? Polly says get your roof inspected now.
Preemptively, I recommend everybody get a qualified roofer out to inspect their roof. If you have the means to get a repair done, get your repairs done. If you're dealing with insurance or you're with a lawyer, public adjuster, get your repairs done, get your invoices over to the public adjuster, your lawyer, whoever, just to show that, hey, I'm trying to get my roof covered before rainy season, hurricane season gets here.
Yeah, Polly says it could take a year or two before the majority of Ian-damaged roofs get repaired. Another reason he encourages you to get that inspection is you might not even realize that your roof is damaged until the additional rainfall uncovers additional leaks. So unfortunately, that's all could be a reality as we approach hurricane season and rainy season. In studio, meteorologist Andrew Shipley, Fox 4.
Thanks, Andrew. Could certainly hear the urgency in that person's voice, though, to try to get people to, if they can't take care of this or haven't, to maybe try to get them there. Even on a day like today, it should be the least of our worries. It's been so dry and wonderful.
Yeah, and it really has been a double-edged sword as we bring in certified meteorologist Katie Walls. Anytime we get rain, we need it, but then on the other side, we know people are still dealing with that.
That's right. We do still have those moderate drought conditions in play, and a day like today is a great day to make those preparations. Both today and tomorrow, dry conditions are forecast, and as we look live here on our radar, you'll notice there's really nothing out there whatsoever for us to have to worry about. But as we look at those rain chances coming up, just a slight chance for a few showers on your Saturday. That 20% probability really extending for our interior communities. And starting on Sunday, that's when those rain chances will be going up, more scattered across more regions, really most of Southwest Florida. So I wanted to show you this. This is our outlook for the weekend ahead. Most of Saturday will be just fine. Best chance for those showers developing away from the coastline. So most of the coast, if you have beach plans, they should be just fine. But as we look ahead to your Sunday morning, things start off nice and quietly. But as we look ahead to Sunday afternoon, notice that more of us up against those developing showers and storms. And as of right now, it looks like this could be the scenario more or less every day next week. Of course, I'll be updating that in your 7-day forecast coming up.
Thanks a lot, Katie. Sheriffs from Florida and across the nation are using the message, listen to the warning, to also get ready for hurricane season.
Yeah, that's because they say the cost of ignoring an evacuation order is just too great to ignore. Megan McRoberts with our Scripps partners in West Palm Beach, WPTV, they're helping share that message tonight.
It's the give and take of waterfront living. Views like these, making this front line for storm damage risks an afterthought. But even inland, storms can pack a disastrous punch inside mobile home communities.
Yeah, we've been in Vero for about a year and a half.
Doug Moore is new to Vero Beach from California, learning the ropes for hurricane preps from his neighbors inside Southgate Village.
In this park, most people have been through stuff here. General consensus is that if it's a 3 or above, you probably ought to seek some other ground.
But he evacuated from his winter home during Hurricane Nicole last year and says he would do it again. That's exactly what Sheriff Eric Flowers likes to hear.
If we're telling you got to go, there's a reason for it. It's that you're in serious danger in those areas.
Flowers says they can't force people out, but when winds become too strong or floodwaters rise too high, deputies and firefighters eventually cannot respond to emergencies.
And unfortunately, we do still continue to receive calls during those times of people who made the choice to stay, the wrong choice to stay. And it's heartbreaking for us, but then as soon as it clears up enough that we can respond out there and check on them, we do.
The barrier island, typically the first to be told they're on their own, but low-lying areas near the river should also consider possibility of losing that lifeline.
That river is more vulnerable than people realize, and the surge from the river can really get nasty.
Studies show the cost of evacuating is a big reason some people stay behind. The sheriff says the county makes sure that does not have to be a factor.
It's easy enough to spend a night in a school versus potentially risk your life and die.
Well, emergency repairs are coming to a Lee County neighborhood to improve drainage issues, but it will be impacting traffic. So Lee County approved on the drainage systems to be repaired near the Brookshire Lake community. This is near the Whole Foods off of Daniels Parkway. County crews saying earlier this year the drainage culverts are failing there. So let's show you exactly where this could impact your daily commute. What we know is that the repairs are happening for those living again in the Brookshire Lake communities as the crews are going to shut down Brookshire Lake Boulevard. That means if you need to get into your neighborhood or need to get into any of the businesses in the shopping plaza where you have the Whole Foods, there's a Mellow Mushroom there as well, you either have to use the 6 Mile Cypress Parkway, as you see here in green, or then come in through the Daniels Parkway entrance there. Now, this project all starts later this month. The repairs
Now, a disturbing story from a high school baseball game in Central Florida as investigators in Osceola County say a parent knocked a 63-year-old umpire to the ground at a game at Liberty High School. The sheriff's office has put out this video of Jorge Aponte Gonzalez walking up to the umpire and hitting the umpire. During the arrest, Gonzalez said he punched the umpire because he was, quote, defending his kid. Gonzalez now faces a felony battery charge.
And 4 members of the extremist group, the Proud Boys, have been found guilty of seditious conspiracy for their roles in the January 6th attacks at the U.S. Capitol. Enrique Tario, Ethan Nordine, Joseph Briggs, and Zachary Rell, all convicted of conspiracy and other charges. Federal prosecutors highlighted a message from Tario, who is believed to be the main leader of the group in the days after January 6th, saying, quote, "Make no mistake, we did this," end quote.
SpaceX launched more Starlink satellites into orbit today, the 3rd Starlink mission to take off on the Falcon 9 booster rocket, which has gone into space 7 times. This most recent launch took off from Cape Canaveral real early, 3:30 a.m., and sent 56 more internet-providing satellites into orbit.
Well, bills morphing school start times and offering year-round classes are now headed to the governor. This happening the day before the legislative session is supposed to end in Tallahassee. Almost everyone in the chambers were actually happy to see these 2 bills go to the governor. Capitol reporter Forrest Sonda tells us that more sleep and learning retention could be coming to your student.
Future school years could look a lot different for some in the Sunshine State.
39 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
Show the bill passes.
Senators giving final approval to a bill that will study year-round schooling to see if Florida should make a change. The bill greenlights a pilot program starting in the 2024-25 school year, requiring at least 1 elementary per district to try year-round schooling out.
Congrats, by the way. I think your bill just went through. 39-0. That's got to feel good.
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Senator Linda Stewart spoke with us as her bill passed off the floor, saying it won't add more days to the 180-day year, just spreads them out in a way that could help student retention.
Keeping the kids engaged and keeping them learning throughout the whole summer so we don't have the end of the year become the beginning of the next year.
Lawmakers also approved a bill making sure students don't have to get up super early for class. The bill, approved with broad support,
38 yeas, 2 nays, Mr. President.
Show the bill passes.
Requires that by July 1st, 2026, all public and charter middle school classes can't start earlier than 8 a.m. High schools, no earlier than 8:30 a.m.
What we're doing now is not what's best for our kids, for the adolescents especially.
Senator Danny Burgess is shepherding the bill. He says science supports making the change, though critics worry about the increased burden to staff and potentially substantial new costs to districts. The senator addressed that, noting the bill requires districts report potential issues in the transition time.
We have 3 years, and in those 3 years, we're going to do our due diligence. We're not going to set anybody up for failure.
Speaking of failure, it'll now be up to the governor to determine the fate of these bills and the future of Florida schools. At the Capitol, I'm Forrest Saunders, Fox 4.
You've got a sister as a senior in high school. My youngest, a daughter, is a senior in high school. That'd be a hard sell to tell them you got to go to school in July.
Yeah,
see how that goes.
No, that is very true. But you know those early wake-up times are difficult, especially for high schoolers.
But even on a perfect day like today, as we'll take a look outside Tarpon Lodge, as it's been so great outside. I mean, and you think about like yesterday with those dew points a little bit lower, much cooler as well too.
And you can tell when there's not even a cloud in the sky how dry it is as we bring in certified.
That's right. Nice and quiet out there right now. And I'm not worried about rain chances affecting your plans tomorrow, but over the weekend, those rain probabilities will be increasing. We'll dive deeper into that over the course of the next several minutes. But here's that live look across the Pine Island Sound from beautiful Tarpon Lodge, located on Pineland, on Pine Island. And, you know, temperatures today actually spot on for this time of year. We officially hit a high of 88 degrees in Fort Myers. That is the average for this time of year. Cape Coral hit 84 along with Lehigh. Punta Gorda registered a high of 86 this afternoon. Naples, we got up to 85 degrees. So overall, not too shabby. Live look now across the Caloosahatchee River from the Luminary Hotel. Other than some high thin cirrus clouds, conditions this evening are nice and quiet for any outdoor plans that you might have. Dew point the measure of moisture in the air, it is still considered in the comfortable range. It's not until it starts hitting those mid-60s, like it will be tomorrow, that you will start to feel it. And then tomorrow also we'll start to calculate in that feels like index, that heat index as well. But at least for now, with those lower dew points, we don't have to worry about an additional heat index. So officially in Fort Myers, we started off at 65. Afternoon highs climbed to 88, normals ranging from 67 to 88 degrees. And if you're craving those 90s, just wait until tomorrow. Widespread low and mid 90s on the way. And with that wind shifting, becoming southwesterly, our humidity will be going up as well. That said, I know there are a lot of Cinco de Mayo celebrations for tomorrow. Radar will stay dry, so not worried about any stormy weather impacting those plans. Looking ahead to your Saturday. As of right now, based upon the latest data, it looks like conditions will stay dry at the coastline. Best chance for a few spotty showers and storms will generally stay inland to the east of I-75. And then Sunday afternoon, that's when basically all of us will be up against that opportunity for scattered showers and storms in the mix. Overnight tonight, though, conditions stay nice and quiet. Mostly clear to partly cloudy skies is how we'll kick off tomorrow morning. Partly cloudy, those temperatures still feeling pretty decent, generally in the mid-60s across southwest Florida. We'll see partly cloudy conditions through the afternoon, a bit more humidity, especially once that southwesterly wind starts to increase. It's going to be driving up our heat and increasing those dew points as well. Our model just updated could squeeze out a passing sprinkle inland, but again, Charlotte as well as Lee into Collier County expected to stay on the quieter side. Quick peek ahead now to your Saturday. Saturday, we'll start off with lots of sunshine. Those winds then become westerly in the afternoon, and that will help to force any showers that do develop farther inland. But even then, notice just how isolated they will be. So here we go, your day planner hour by hour for tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies, those temperatures starting off in the 60s. And then as we head into the afternoon, it's going to be hotter, more humid, but staying dry with a partly cloudy sky and making those evening plans mostly sunny skies, becoming mostly clear, of course, once the sun sets around 8 p.m. and those temperatures staying in the 80s for your evening time frame. 7-day forecast showing off those scattered afternoon evening storms in the mix starting Sunday and every day next week.
This week, we are focusing on the 5 must-do exercises for people over the age of 50. We've talked about pelvic exercises, single leg balance, wall glides, and in today's Your Healthy Family, all you need is some kind of chair. We're taking it to chair squats.
These are important because obviously I notice people who have a tough time getting up and down.
And Coach Nino Magadino, owner of MaxFlex Fitness in Naples, says chair squats can help with that.
You can take your arms out if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and sit back down nice and slow and then up.
Here's his client Lane in the gym to demonstrate. His legs are shoulder width apart.
There you go, nice and slow as you go down.
You can see he has an elastic band around his lower legs.
Go ahead and sit down for me. Okay, down, and then push through, and then go ahead and stand up. The reason why I put the band here, and I really want you to pull your knees apart. As you go down in that squat, pull your knees apart. Many people, we have a muscle called the glute medius, which is in the outside of the glute. As we sit, as we age, that muscle atrophies, the glute medius. So that's why it's important. Putting the bands on here will keep the glutes engaged.
Building up those muscles and also your quadriceps.
Give me about 10 more, Lane. I really want you to feel this.
He says doing exercises like this
Extend your arms out just so you can have better posture.
will help prevent issues with moving later in life.
One more, bud. All right, good.
Now think about it. This is something you can easily do while sitting at home, watching TV, staying in shape while relaxing as well. Now, in tomorrow's Your Healthy Family, we're going to show you another must-do exercise for people over the age of 50, and this one involves some weights.
And as we get out of here and we leave you tonight, we'll get out onto the water, the Caloosahatchee. I really wanted to go jet skiing today. I go once a year. I was really tempted to do it, but I didn't want to do it on a work day because, you know, of all the motion, then you can't read the prompter a few hours later. But so we'll do the next best thing. We'll take out the Skyfox drone you can see going over the Caloosahatchee, about 8 feet over the surface, a little higher than over the boats, but just to make it all have another reason why we all appreciate it here,
And
right?
with our gorgeous new set, it really does feel like we're on the water. And first of all, you're in Southwest Florida. You got to jet ski more than just once a year these days.
Once a year.
Until then, we appreciate you guys so much for joining us for Fox 4 News at 6. We will see you again tonight on Fox 4 News at 10.
Good night. A Lee County Corrections deputy arrested and charged for leaking confidential information to street racing groups.
So when you leak that out, people get to see what we're doing.
Tonight, the information that got out and were operations jeopardized.
And a new Collier County superintendent means a new list of goals for students.
Really kind of we're starting from scratch.
Fox 4 investigates one-on-one with the new leader, asking which changes are ahead for students and staff. And as Hurricane Preparedness Week continues, what to do about all of those damaged roofs here in Southwest Florida.
With rainy season quickly approaching, a roofing expert shows us what to do to shore up your homes.
Live from Southwest Florida, this is Fox 4 News at 6.
Well, a simple Snapchat post lands a corrections deputy into serious trouble after the sheriff says he leaked confidential information with illegal street racing groups. Thanks for joining us for Fox 4 News at 6. I'm Nadine Yanis.
I'm Chris Earle, and that 18-year-old corrections deputy arrested for posting that sensitive information on Snapchats.
Yeah, Sheriff Carmine Marcino says that corrections deputy wanted to warn those street racing groups, which the sheriff's office has been trying to crack down on after a shooting back in March.
That information that was leaked out did affect other people because that intel, is confidential.
So they say this man did it. 18-year-old Gure Usin, Sheriff Carmine Marcino saying the photos posted contained what could involve suspects, criminal informants, and people also working undercover.
Fox 4's Caitlin Knapp live in studio now to explain how the sheriff's office said Usin did it.
Well, all it really took was a computer and a phone. Sheriff Carmine Marcino says Usin took 4 photos on the information on a computer at their core facility. Then he posted it on Snapchat. The information is only in a portal for certified employees. They could access it. Usin included in that. And it's access. I asked the sheriff if he's reevaluating because of this particular incident.
Snapchat is how an internal investigation started at the Lee County Sheriff's Office. 4 photos leaking confidential information about street racing investigations.
Detectives quickly found information on a photo was an exact match to one of our programs that stores law enforcement sensitive information.
That information allegedly leaked by Lee County Corrections Officer Gure Usin, an 18-year-old only on the job for 9 months. Sheriff Carmine Marcino says using a date and time, they tracked down the picture to a sheriff's office computer.
Former Deputy Usin intentionally gave this information out to warn these groups and obstruct our investigations.
And in this investigation, Sheriff Marcino says they identified Usin through surveillance video and logins, leaking information on Snapchat that law enforcement doesn't want out there, informants, suspects, the progress of an investigation.
The people that are involved in the investigation now get intelligence that they're not supposed to see, and that hurts our investigation.
About 1,100 certified employees with the Lee County Sheriff's Office can access this level of information. I asked the sheriff if this incident has them rethinking stricter access.
Of course, we always think about access and limiting access and who has access.
Access Usin no longer has. Deputies arrested him at his Collier County home Wednesday, charging him with disclosing confidential criminal justice information.
Unfortunately, there are relationships that we can't control outside of work.
The now fired Usin is still in a Collier County jail tonight, and this is the second recent case of Lee County Corrections officers getting fired. Back in February, 2 were accused of throwing hot water on inmates at a Lee County jail, and both of them were also fired. Reporting live in studio, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.
All right, Caitlin, thank you. Also, take a look at this video taken by Fox 4 cameras today, showing the moment a man was arrested just outside Hodges University in Fort Myers. Witnesses on scene tell us the man was actually trying to drive away from police and took a fast turn, hitting a pole. They say the suspect then got out of the car and started running. However, our cameras show he was ultimately caught, as you see here, and taken into custody. Fox 4 waiting on any official report from deputies regarding this incident.
New tonight, jury selection is set to start Monday in the case of the man accused of killing a babysitter and the 11-year-old girl she was caring for back in 1990. Joseph Zeiler is accused in the deaths of 11-year-old Robin Cornell and Lisa Story in Cape Coral. He's facing the death penalty if convicted, at least a possibility of it. Recently, Zeiler's legal team entered multiple motions to deny evidence from getting shown in court. Those motions specifically asked the court to not allow DNA results. as Zeiler's legal team claims that police may have mishandled the evidence.
Well, Fort Myers police have arrested a 22-year-old who detectives say was sending inappropriate pictures of children to others on social media. Officers arresting Anthony Angelo and charging him with 10 counts of possession and 2 counts of transmission of child pornography. Fort Myers police says there was actually a tip from the National Center and Missing Exploited Children that told investigators about this last summer. Detectives eventually finding the evidence that Angelo sent inappropriate images and videos on the app Kick.
Deputies in DeSoto County say that they arrested a man who attacked someone, then got away in a scooter and rode through downtown Arcadia. Deputies say Ryan Pope is facing numerous charges, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Investigators say Pope attacked someone at a home during a domestic dispute. When deputies arrived on scene, witnesses told them Pope took off on a scooter. Investigators then chased Pope until he crashed the scooter in downtown Arcadia, and then they arrested him.
Well, it is a slow and steady progress, but it is getting done as those emergency sand dunes are being put into place in Collier County. Fox 4